Okay, the townships won't have, eventually, the townships won't have to pay any money, correct?
That is correct.
And that's a positive thing for the townships.
Mhm.
But then you're talking about grants and subsidies.
Yep.
All that money comes from somewhere. That means taxpayers somewhere, right?
Correct. Yes.
So you get some probably from the federal government, some from the state, right?
Correct. Yes.
So when it's all said and done, after all, everything is where the townships don't pay anything anymore.
Mhm.
And you're getting these grants and all these subsidies. Is the cost of this program more than DIO, right?
I would say the cost will be the same, if not less. You get some efficiencies in scale. So as the program continues to get bigger, you end up splitting, like you have fixed costs. So when you call the call center, you're paying someone to be there no matter what, right? To answer the phones, to schedule the rides. If you're able to spread that out over an entire program, a singular program with a lot more rides, that effective cost comes down because it's more rides and it's a bigger program. So I would say it'll be the same.
But it's also involves more people. You know, I'm just looking at what's going on where now everybody in the whole state of Illinois has to pay for Chicago Transit Authority because they don't operate at a proper monetary standard,
Mhm.
if you want to put it like that. So they spend more than they take in, and they have excessively high wages probably, and they have a lot of problems. So now when we take this over, do we become similar to that with this program where all of a sudden the cost now, as you said, is at par?
Mhm.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But 5 years from now, does it grow to the point where we can't pay for it anymore? And then we got to ask the people of the state of Illinois to pay for it because we can't pay for it. And we're not Chicago, so we won't get the money from the state of Illinois. So that means our program will come exclusively from our Will County taxpayers. Correct?
I mean, we do receive.
If we're short money and we can't get money from the state, and we're already getting taxpayer dollars from the state with
Mhm.
grants and subsidies, right?
Correct.
So there's a point where the money isn't going to be there anymore. It dries up. So what happens in 5 years if we can't operate our program correctly? Like CTA, I'm sure they thought that they were doing it right,
Right.
right? I mean, I don't think they're a bunch of idiots. I think they knew what they were doing, but they didn't understand some of the things that didn't come up when they were talking about it. So I'm bringing it up now that are we getting set up possibly for having it where the people in Will County are going to have to pay more money? Or are we going to go back to the townships and tell them they got to pay again? Because we are running it, but we mismanaged it.
I
And
don't believe that we've mismanaged the program.
well, I would hope not, but I don't think CTA.
He's speaking in
that-
hypotheticals.
Okay.
This is a question. So
Mhm.
what do we do if and we're having problems with the RNG plant for years. And those are smart people. And we didn't expect any of those problems. So, you can't sit there and say, well, it isn't going to happen. So my concern is, are the people in Will County going to end up paying for this program?
But
Elaine, if I could, if
Yeah.
you don't mind,
Please
because I
don't.
have some history.
Mhm.
This was kind of the argument that we had many years ago when we created the Will Ride program. There was concern that when we consolidated this for the Eastern Will County and we opened this up, that at some point we wouldn't have the funds and we would have to stop the service, and that residents would be quite upset because their service stopped. And that was the concern at that time. It wasn't so much about it getting costly or out of hand. And again, those things are all hypothetical. And I think it's really difficult to know what a future board would decide based on a hypothetical question today. That's what I would say to you. The
Well, I,
Will Ride program did not go defunct. It's still very operational and obviously has grown into Access Will, where we're about to now cover every
but
township.
Jackie, you're putting words out there that aren't necessarily true.
Well, then
I'm not
ask your
calling it
question.
hypothetical. I'm saying that this is already happening in other places.
But it's not happening here.
Well, guess what? If it happened in Chicago, why couldn't it happen here?
We're not Chicago.
Oh, so we're run better. So you explain to me why the RNG plant isn't as profitable as we were told.
It's an,
Just that, that's only one example. That came to my mind.
that's not covered by this committee.
Well,
so-
the same thing. People, we go into these projects and we think it's going to work out real good. And then all of a sudden we have a problem.
And
And I
that's-
just want to clear whether or not this, if we screw this up with mismanagement, which is very easy because we're already doing it in different places. So now we have mismanagement and then we turn around and it's not the executive's office or you guys, it's the people running the program. They screw something up and now the next thing that happens is what? Someone's got to
I
pay the
know.
freight.
We are running the program and
But
again.
you know, you're interrupting me. I'm asking a darn good question and you just don't like the question. So let me finish.
Your time
So
is
I
just
wanna
about up,
know-
so please
Mhm.
finish.
What are we gonna do if we mismanage the program and we have no more money? Are we gonna make a decline in the program? You know, cut some of the services? Or are we gonna keep the services the same and tax the people in all of Will County?
So I'm going to answer your hypothetical question.
It's not
with-
hypothetical, it's factual, because if that happens,
Okay, I'm sorry,
Maybe we
I'm
need
sorry,
to
Member
give a
Balich.
Definition
So-
of hypothetical.
well, it just depends on how you look at hypothetical. I look
It-
at it as like it's somewhere out in space and it ain't gonna happen. And I'm saying this already happening in Chicago, it's already happening here.
So Member
it's
Ballard,
not
in an attempt to
hypothetical, it's
answer,
possible.
Mr. Mr.
Let her
Balch, in an
answer the
attempt to
question.
answer your question, if the program were to run out of funding in a fiscal year, if I am here, if Colin's here, if it's in 10 years, 15 years, and whatever amount of time, whoever's managing the program will come forward and say, hello, county board, we've run into a fiscal problem. We either need additional funding or we need to cut services. And that would ultimately be a decision up to this county board. If they would like to allocate additional funding, or if they would like to say, hey, we're done for the year. So that would ultimately be up to the county board.
Okay. Member
manage the fiscal
Ogala, you had a
component.
The
question?
county board will probably not wanna cut any kind of services like that. And so we'll end up with more taxes for Will County.
Member Ogala, you had a question?
I do. One of the things is I want to refer back to something that you said regarding Eastern Will County. Eastern Will County, that was run on its own years ago. There was mismanagement by the group that was running it at the time, Senior Services. So it got brought in here to be managed here. The difference with that is Eastern Will County Townships continued to pay for that, for the rides. We didn't pay anything. We got money from Pace and everybody for the salary for the person who was doing that position at the time. So that was funded by Eastern Will County Townships. When the county took it over, we went into Will Ride, and then we've expanded a little bit. Now we're expanding again. The townships no longer fund it. So the taxpayers are already paying more money because those townships have not cut their levies for the amount of money it costs them to run the program. They have not done that. They're never going to do that. But the county of Will has increased because we have a line item on our budget now for that. So the taxpayers are paying per township and they're also paying at the county level, both of those. So the cost of this program is increasing. With adding this Central Will County group, because of the cost of it, we're doing it in increments of them no longer paying over the course of 6 years because it's going to double the cost of what we've spent on Will Ride so far. So there is a concern. When we hear what happened in Springfield last week with the veto session, that all of Will County, all of Illinois is going to be paying to bail out the mass transit in Chicago, in Cook County. It is a worry. It is a question. It's not hypothetical. It's possible. And if you are running a project, I was a project manager for 20 some years. If you're running a project, you need to ask every question. So you have an answer for every question. So maybe Steve seems hypothetical, but it is a question and you have to have an answer for it and you have to have a solution because what happens? Depending on how this board is situated, I can't ever imagine them cutting it because then what will happen with those seniors? So you're never going to cut it. You will have to then continue to fund it. My whole problem with this all along is that the townships who funded this in the past, some very small amount did not fund it at all. But the ones that funded it in the past, it's still, that money's still in their budgets. It's never been cut and they're not expected to pay. I think every township should have to pay a percentage for the rides that are coming from their communities so that we do have funding that comes in. And everybody is paying the money that they've paid in taxes and those townships will go elsewhere, God only knows where. And then money in our budget is now going to be used for something that we did not do before. So that's a concern for me.
Wonderful. Member Hickey.